Hello Nidorinas and Nidorinos, I'm KingNido and today we're coming from the Lentil region where the Neos are hosting the Ula macros, and unbelievably the macros are the only side at the moment to have not won a game this season. But not just that, they've never taken down the Lentil Neos, who are looking to remain undefeated against the Steel types and try and make their own way up the leaderboard. So with that said, let us know in the comments below who you think is going to win this matchup. Will it be the Delta types? Will it be the Steel types? Let's go!
3, 2, 1, go!
And it is going to be that Terrestrial Draftee Phalanx for the Ula macro, starting out alongside Skarmory. It is going to be that Blaze Breed Paldean Taurus, starting out with the Jotonian Slowking here in this match, and I cannot wait for this one as it is Taurus starting out with the headbutt onto Phalanx that is going to be resisted thanks to that newly found Steel typing, who does respond with the air slash super effective onto its fellow fighting type, and Skarmory follows it up with the Drill Peck to take Taurus out of this matchup. The macros knew that Taurus was a huge problem and they got rid of that quick, as the toxic thread from Slowking is not going to poison the Steel type Skarmory, but it is going to lower that speed, as Slowking is joined by the Cantonian Slowbro. We have the Slowpoke connection, as the Spite from Phalanx onto Slowking is going to cut into its PP by 4, and Skarmory, even with that slowed speed, is still quicker, goes for the Shockwave, super effective onto Slowking, who actually handles that move really well and responds with a headbutt of its own that is once again resisted, this time by Skarmory. Slowbro following up though with the Water Pulse onto Phalanx, getting some great damage, and this is going to leave the Terrestrial Draftee confused. It will need to shake it off before it starts doing damage to itself with that Axe Crown there on the field, and that is exactly what happens. It puts itself into knockout range. However, Skarmory, looking to do its part, does go for the Heart Swap on to Slowbro, but there have been no stat changes there on Slowbro, as Slowking looks to capitalize with the Blizzard, and it takes Phalanx out of this matchup and gets the critical play onto Skarmory as well, capitalizing on that part flying typing, as this Slowpoke connection are working well together. There's that Daylight coming back out over here in the Lentil region, as the Tail Whip now from Slowbro is going to lower that defense of Skarmory, who is now being joined by Bastiodon. Speaking of defenses, as Skarmory goes for the shore up very intelligently, it was becoming an easier target, so it is going to restore that health. And Slowking, looking to respond, goes for the Mega Horn onto Bastiodon. Not very effective, actually does more damage than expected thanks to that critical play though, as Bastiodon is going to respond with the Minimize, trying to boost its evasiveness a great deal here, making it a much harder target, as Slowbro goes for the Hydro Steam, but that is avoided by Bastiodon. That heightened evasiveness paying off, but it's the Lunar Dance from Skarmory. That's a very risky play, taking itself out of this matchup, putting the Neos in front. And Bastiodon going for a Water Gun of its own, not very effective onto Slowbro. Slowking looking to capitalize with the Frenzy Plant, capitalizing on that part rock typing, gets the critical play, but Bastion hangs on by a thread and proceeds to chow down on its Lancet Berry. It is getting pumped as Slowbro is going to fling its own berry here, the Enigma Berry, at Bastiodon, and Bastiodon absolutely tanks that move. It is still in this match, being joined by Metang, who immediately goes for the Shell Sidearm onto Slowking, gets in some good damage there, and Slowking is left with that Poison status condition that is going to chip away at the health, as Bastiodon follows it up with the Flail, getting the critical play to ensure that it will take Slowking out. That may be the best Flail we have ever seen in the PokeType League. VGC, as the Razor Leaf in response from Slowbro gets that critical play onto Bastiodon to ensure this time it will go down, putting the Neos back in front, as now Berserker comes out for the macros. It is going to be Dugtrio in that Cantonian form coming out for the Neos, and it immediately goes for the Bug Bite, not very effective onto Berserker, but it takes its Enigma Berry from it and proceeds to eat it, as Berserker responds with the Icicle Spear here on to Slowbro. This multi-hit move chipping away at the health of Slowbro bit by bit. It's got 4 connections right now, and it will be a 5-time connection with that not very effective move from Berserker onto Slowbro, as Metang follows it up by setting up the Psychic Terrain on the field, and Metang will appreciate this, but so will Slowbro. As this battlefield gets just a little bit weird, Slowbro is going for the charm, but that is not going to work on that clear body Metang, as Dugtrio, looking to do its part, is going to go for the conversion too, focusing in onto Metang. It is going to change that ground typing, and it itself is going to now become a psychic type as Berserker responds with the smoke screen, lowering the accuracy here of Slowbro, making it harder for it to hit its targets now, as Metang with the follow-up is going to go with the Tail Glow. Its stats can't be lowered, but that special attack has just been boosted a great deal as Slowbro responds with the Poison Tail, but that does not affect the Steel types. Dugtrio, once again looking to do its part, goes for the Arm Thrust. Now this will not be super effective on Metang thanks to that part Psychic typing, but once again it is going for a multi-hit move. Monsters, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, please leave a like, share, subscribe, as those 3 connections and a Berserker response with the Hyper Voice, getting a critical play onto Slowbro in the process, as Metang with the follow-up goes for the Poison Sting onto Slowbro. It poisoned Slowking, and now it has poisoned Slowbro as well, as Slowbro is going to respond with the Flare Blitz, and it takes Metang out with that super effective move. Clearly not appreciating being poisoned here, nor not appreciating that Slowking was poisoned earlier, even though it does take that recoil damage, and there is that poisoning starting to take effect, putting Slowbro into knockout range. And the macros are down to their last Pokemon, being Orthworm, who's immediately on the receiving end of an extra sensory from the Psychic type Dugtrio. Not very effective, still does some good damage, but Orthworm responds with the Power Gem, getting in some great damage there onto Dugtrio. Berserker follows it up with the Magic Room, making it so everybody's held items all lose their effects. No one will be chowing down on their berries in the meantime, as the Scary Face from Slowbro is going to be avoided by Berserker, but what is not avoided is that poisoning, taking Slowbro out of this matchup. It is now a 3 versus 2 contest, as now the Neos are sending out Ditto, and with that imposter ability it is going to take on the form of Orthworm, so it is also going to take on that Earth Eater ability. The macros won't be able to go for any ground type moves onto this Stellar type Terrestrial draftee that is Ditto. We'll try not to get too confused with these 2 Orthworm looking Pokemon down there on the field, and let's hope that the macros don't get confused either, as Dugtrio is going to go for the Heart Swap on to Berserker, trying to switch all stat changes between the 2, but the real Orthworm is going to go for the Shadow Claw, trying to show that it is better than Ditto here, but Ditto is going to respond, and it is going to bring down the Thunder on to the real Orthworm, and it takes it out of this matchup. Berserker is all by itself. It has 3 members of the Neos to contend with, and it goes for the Horn Leech, getting some alright damage there onto Ditto. Even though it wasn't very effective, it does restore its health, almost getting itself back to full strength. And the weirdness does disappear from the field, as Dugtrio is going to go for the Meteor Mash, not very effective there onto Berserker, and Orthworm, sorry, it is Ditto, goes for the Muddy Water, but that is going to be avoided by Berserker, who does look to capitalize by going for the Shallow Smash. It is going to cut into its defenses. This is very risky, but in doing so, it is going to greatly boost those offensive stats, including that 110 base physical attack. Now it does have 100 defense that it is willing to give up a bit of, but it also boosts that speed, taking full speed control, going for the Parabolic Charge, and it connects with the Psychic type Dugtrio, eliminating it from the match, getting great damage onto Ditto, putting it into knockout range, and in doing so Berserker has gotten itself back to full strength by draining the energy of the Delta types here. And Ditto is looking to respond though. It does go for the Dazzling Gleam onto those reduced defenses of Berserker as the final Pokemon for the Neos. It is going to be Oricorio, and it is part Fly type, remember, as the dig from Berserker. It will not work on Oricorio, who is a part Fly type. Oricorio goes for the Magnet Rise though, so it will levitate with the Electromagnetism just to ensure it is safe. But Ditto has that Earth Eater ability. It goes for the Barb Barrage. That would not have worked anyway. And the Magic Room has worn off, and this is going to allow Ditto to chow down on its Lancer Bear. It is getting pumped as the Neos are looking to go 3-0 against the macros. That dig connecting with Ditto restores its health, and Oricorio is going to go with the Overheat to completely melt Berserker away with that super effective move. And the Neos continue their win streak over the Steel types, and the macros unbelievably have started this season 0-4. They are on the bottom of the leaderboard. Every other side has got a win, and now they have to try and get their first first win of the season against the Verbank Plasma, whereas next round the Neos, they are going up against the Castelia Pinchers. But until then, Nidorinos, thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below who you thought was the best on field, and if you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like, share, subscribe, but more importantly, always remember, you are awesome, and I will see you when you see me.